This is Sounds Like Adventure, an actual play podcast all about fun roleplay, short runtimes, and great sound design. I'm your host and DM, Jack Trainer, and I'm joined by my co-hosts and players, Jacob Sirachi and China Wenzel. And we're back. It's episode 9 of season 2 of Sounds Like Adventure. Hey, it's me, Jack. How you going? So glad you've joined us because it is the second last episode of season 2. We are just racing through and so much more good stuff to come. And don't forget, the series finale of Sounds Like Relic is coming this Thursday right here in the feed. Don't miss it. But in our last episode, Odis and Sioc met the Man in Black and had a very strange and unsettling encounter. But after an unknown amount of time in some strange alternate realm, when they emerged, they found the band Scam Hall had taken the stage and they did something just unspeakable to Bobby Elfish. So when we pick things up today, the band has just jumped off the stage and they are ready to throw down with Odis and Sioc, who don't seem all that impressed with what they've done to Bobby Elfish. But before we dive in today, let's do a little D&D 101. So it's another combat-heavy episode today, and we're using some alternate rules. So these rules come by way of an independent publisher called MCDM. You might have heard of them. They had a bit of a moment on Kickstarter earlier this year. So these are called the Minion Rules. And the whole idea here is when people fight people in movies, quite often the heroes dispatch of their enemies really quickly. And in D&D, there isn't really a rule that facilitates this kind of interesting and dynamic combat. So this rule is designed to facilitate that type of combat. And it introduces a new creature type called Minions. So basically, minions have really low health, they deal really low damage, and they all move at the same time. And anytime a player does any damage to them, they die. But they do have a health total. So if that player does more damage than their health total, then they can attack another one and do overkill. And it just flows on from there. So this can create situations where players get to kill heaps of enemies in just a single move. So listen out for it today. If there's any times where you hear an enemy die with very low damage, they were probably a minion. And if there's any times where Chai and Jacob get to kill more than one enemy at a time, then they were probably minions as well. And the last thing to keep in mind before we dive into the episode, it's combat heavy, so let's talk those life totals. Odis's total is 42, and Sioc's is 41. Okay, with all that in mind, let's see if they can keep those totals above 0. And let's dive into the next episode of Sounds Like Adventure. So when we last left off, the band, Scam Hall, they jumped off the stage and they're attacking you. Sioc, what are you doing now?
As soon as they jump off the stage, Sioc will mind link to our good old friend, Dragon Norm at the front. Sioc to Dragon Norm, over.
Blue Dragon and Black Midnight, there's a lot of chaos out here. What's going on? Over.
Midnight to Blue Dragon, there's some bad folks in here. They're trying to wreck the place. We need your help. Over.
Coming in. Over and out.
Over and out.
You've set the word out, but at the moment these guys are now converging on you. So, with all that in mind, let's kick it off. Let's roll for initiative.
And that 20. Sioc is on it.
Great. And Odis, what did you roll?
A grand total of a 6.
Classic. All right. Well, Sioc, you can kick things off. You've got all these guys converging on you. They're blocking your path around anyone else at the moment. What are you going to do?
Sioc's going to go down into a crouch, focuses his mind as purple dark energy, kind of looks like a purple shadow, converges in his hands like daggers, and he's gonna stab the guy that's right in front of him. Stabby stab stab. And there goes the balance. Just roll the net 20 for initiative, very important, followed by a nat 1 for the attack.
Nice, we're done.
Luckily, He's got an offhand as well. He's got 2 daggers, so he can stab again. And that would be 22.
Yeah, 22 is definitely going to hit.
All right, and that is 2 damage.
Great. So you kill this first brown-robed figure right in front of you with your first move.
Because it's psychic damage, it just really hurts their brain. Just like, for the 2 damage, I would say he kind of like has this brain freeze. And then he accidentally stabs himself to death.
So the brown-robed figures, they just move down unperturbed by their friend who was just killed, and they close the space standing over the top of the body, and they converge on you. And they're going to attack Sioc.
Come at me, bras.
They roll 17.
Yeah. That's going to hit.
So you're going to take 3 damage, and then in addition to that, you are going to take a further 3 damage. So you're going to take 6 damage. Then we can move on to one of the bandmates. You look over at this person, and this one's a woman, red hair, really calm demeanor, a human, and she walks over to the wall where there's a crossbow mounted, and she pulls the crossbow off the wall. And she turns and then she aims down the sights of it. She looks at it, seems satisfied, and then aims down the sights at you, Sioc, with this now. And she's going to attack you with a crossbow bolt. Cool. She's going to roll a nat 20.
Oh, that's going to suck.
Yeah, you're going to take 13 damage on this one.
All right. I'm going to use my reaction. Uncanny dodge to half that damage to 5.
Then the next bandmate moves up. This is another human one. He's wearing the same brown robes as the other guys, but the hood is pushed back and he's revealing this bald head, and he's got like a sadistic smile, super broad, just muscle bound and like rivaling Odis in size. And he doesn't even bother picking up a weapon. He just strides forward and he's ready to engage Sioc in hand-to-hand combat over the top of these other guys who have surrounded you. And he's going to just throw a big fist at you. He can make 2 attacks.
Oh, no.
So the first one, he rolls a 24.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
So takes 7 damage, and then he rolls a nat 1. And with that second roll, he swings with lots of like force and excitement. And as he does, he sort of slips in a puddle of blood from his friend who's died. And he goes down and he falls prone. Odis.
Odis, with his newly summoned Shadow Blade, will take a swing at the 2 brown red guards in front of him. That is a nat 20. So 25 total.
Yeah, 25 is going to hit.
Sick. So how do you want me to roll damage, Jack? What are we doing for crits?
Just what we would normally do, like your...
Double damage dice? Yeah, so that's going to be 6d8.
Yo, what?
That's 31 damage.
Yeah. So there's only 2 minions who are currently within range of you, though. So you will be able to kill those 2 minions.
So he's got a basically sword made of shadow, solidified shadow, and he just takes a casual swipe through these 2 guards, and then immediately just takes a step forward, walks around the fight between Sioc and the burly bandmate, walking towards Scam Hall himself.
And now it's Scam Hall's turn. He sort of chuckles to himself.
I think you guys got this.
And he spins a chair around and he sits down on a chair, and he doesn't do anything. Sioc, your turn.
Yeah, Sioc just got pelted. swipes away a bit of blood from his muzzle, and then it looks to the side and sees Odis swinging his new shadow blade, and it just like slashes through these two dudes, and he just looks down at his daggers, grumbles to himself, doesn't say anything, just like keeps on stabbing. First the human god guy in front of him. That's a 25 to hit.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
And that is 8 damage.
Yep, you kill the first guard in front of you.
And then he does a cool pirouette and slams the offhand into Baldy for a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
And that is 4 damage.
Slice across his chest with the other hand. You see him shake a bit with the psychic energy as it hits him. And through the mind link, you hear, "Blue dragon to black midnight. I'm coming in." You see a blue dragonborn with a long neck and a great attitude. Dragon Norm, he comes striding in and he says, "All right, it's way past lockout and you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here."
Amazing.
Scam Hall laughs really derisively at this guy and he goes,
Isn't that a goddamn bouncer? Go back to the door, Dragon Man. You don't belong here. You'll end up dead like these two are about to be.
"Well, can't say I didn't warn you." And he reaches down behind the counter and he pulls out a baseball bat, and Dragon Norm joins combat on your side.
Dragon Norm.
Baseball bat. Amazing.
Dragon Norm.
Great. So you've killed all of the brown-robed figures, made extremely short work of these guys. So next up is our friend, the female bandmate with the red hair, and she steps up and steps in front of Scam Hall and gets in front of Odis, and she sort of wags her finger at you like, and then she opens up with the heavy crossbow on you again. And she's going to roll a 22.
Ooh, that's going to hit.
So take 5 damage.
Rough.
Then over to the big man, unhappy that he's just been stabbed. He's going to throw a haymaker at you. He's going to miss with the first one. Then a second one, a 15.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
Comes in and he grazes you across the chin. Doesn't land a full blow. And he deals 4 damage to you.
Bastard.
Odis, what are you doing? You've just seen this dude just raining these blows down on your brother. You've just taken a shot with the crossbow. Dragon Norm's run in.
I think Odis would trust his brother to handle himself for now. And he would continue to stroll forward in like a controlled manner, and with a nice little sword flourish, like just a little spin of the sword, and yeah, just straight up to the crossbow woman and take a nice big swing. Oof, that's an 8. How does an 8 do, Jack?
An 8 does not hit, surprisingly.
Rude.
Great. So I think you swing and she jumps and she lands in a perfect spot, ready to fire a shot off at you on her next turn. Scam Hall's turn, though. Takes like a big sigh, looking over all the dead, brown-robed folks who you guys have just taken care of. And he claps his hands together in front of him.
Surprise, boys.
And you watch as 3 of the brown-robed figures that you just killed stand back up.
Oh.
So, Sioc, your turn.
Sioc's gonna mind link to Dragon Orm. Black Midnight to Blue Dragon. Kind of need a hand over here. And then he like swipes at the guard guys again, at the minions for 24 to hit.
Oof.
Yep, that's going to hit.
That is max damage. 6 plus 3, 9.
So you can kill 2 of these guys. They stand up and they immediately go back down again.
Like I would assume he just did like one swipe and it gets them both in the face, and then like he turns and gives his other dagger into the chest of the last hooded guy for a 13 to hit.
13 doesn't hit.
Oh no.
Damn.
I hit him in the chest, but it doesn't do anything.
Just sort of like moves back, almost like in a zombie-like nature, and then it pulls back its fist and takes a swing at you. And it rolls a 20.
That is gonna hit.
Take 1 damage.
I'll take it.
Over to the red-haired bandmate. She gets ready for a point-blank shot, which she takes no penalty for taking, and she fires the crossbow straight into your face, Odis. Does a 22 hit?
No. Just because I don't want it to.
Oh, wow. What's your AC again?
This is 14. I just can't do math.
Okay. You're going to take 11 damage.
Yeah. Oh, rough.
I think you probably like push the crossbow out of the way and it probably just connects with your shoulder, and it hits you pretty roughly here.
Yep.
Then over to the big bald guy who's currently hammering on Sioc. It's going to make an attempt to grab you. So it's going to make an attack here using a special ability. So it does a 20 hit you.
Oh yeah.
Great. And you're going to take 4 damage.
I'm gonna half that to 2.
Great. And now, until next turn, when you can make this roll, you're going to be restrained by the creature, by this big guy. The escape DC for this is 13.
Okay.
It's Dragon Norm's turn. Okay, he runs up and he steps over one of the bodies of the dead guys. And he just, as he's running, pulls that baseball bat out and he just swings it at the big bald guy's head here. He rolls a 16, which hits. He deals 11 damage.
Go, Mr. Norm.
Just cleans this dude. He just hits him so badly right in the shoulder. But he's still standing, feeding off the pain, the big bald guy. And then Dragon Norm reaches over to you, Sioc, and he claps you on the shoulder, and you feel this just like warmth and this like responsibility and this conscientiousness, and you just feel like such a great attitude surge through you. And he gives you a bonus to your AC of +1 for a minute.
Oof.
Ooh, yeah.
Mr. Norm coming through with the goods.
Odis, what are you doing after that display?
Odis puts his hand to the side and lets the shadow blade dissipate. Odis puts his hand to the other side and he calls forth a shadowy spirit. So summons shadow spawn. So all these shadows sort of coalesce into this monstrosity. So the spell reads, you call forth a shadowy spirit. It manifests in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. This corporeal form uses the shadow spirit stat block. The creature disappears when it drops to 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The creature is an ally to you and your companions. In combat, the creature shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It obeys your verbal commands. No action required by you. If you don't issue any, it takes the dodge action and uses its move to avoid danger.
Okay, great. You can definitely cast that. So what does it look like when you cast the Shadow Spawn?
So I would say you see like Odis's shadow off to the side from all of the like nightclub lights, and it just sort of starts to like bubble a bit, and then like out of the ground, and his shadow just sort of rises and shapens into this like almost Loxodon-like form. Like if you saw it at the corner of your eye in an alley, you'd think it was just a random Loxodon man walking down the alley until you see it up close, and then it's like just wrong in all the right places.
So yeah, you do that. This terrifying creature appears. What do you do now?
And all right, so Shadow Spawn, he is going to use Chilling Rend. So just basically swipe with one of his big clawed fists at the crossbow woman. That's a nat 20.
That's going to hit.
So it's a crit, and that will be 18 plus 3, so 21 damage.
Wow.
Damn.
barely hanging on at this stage. Then over to Scam Hall. He's sort of like looking a little more agitated. He's still not standing up and joining the fray yet, though. But he does some sort of weird hand movement. And then you notice that the brown-robed figure, the man, the bald man, and the red-haired woman, all of their either weapons or fists glow with this black fire. And he actually gets up from his chair and moves not too far, just a little bit. Sioc, you're grabbed by this big bald guy, so you need to try and escape first.
Yeah, Sioc is very nimble, so he'll just wriggle a lot. So he starts like wriggling around, like going limp and then wriggle again to like slip out of the grasp. Alright, acrobatics. Oh my god. Got +6. That's 3 plus 3 plus 3. That's 9. But I also got psionic dice. So I'll add an 1d8 to that, which would be a 2. 11.
You won down, my friend.
Yeah, I can't wriggle out.
You can't break free.
So he just like growls.
So then the brown-robed figure is going to swing at you while you're restrained, getting advantage on the attack. Rolls a nat 1 and a 5. But now over to the big bald guy. He sort of shifts his grip on you, loops around your waist, and he just tosses you backwards, and he just throws you. So he can throw you up to 30 feet.
Jesus.
Damn.
And if you collide with a solid object, you're going to take some damage in doing that. I think he's going to throw you straight into the wall of the VIP section here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he just like shifts his grip, flips over and tosses you backwards over his own head, and you fly through the air. And now you have the chance to make a dex save to resist any damage that you would take. So give me a DC 13 dex save here.
There we go. That's a good roll. That's a 25.
Nice work.
So what you see is Sioc getting flung, and he flies. And he does like this gracious, and he just lands with all 4 limbs touching the wall. Perfect landing, like in a crouch. And he's just on the wall. He stays there. His claws grip the wall.
What a move. Wow. So this guy has thrown you over his head. So he doesn't see any of this happen, basically. It just happens all behind him because he's already turned and started to walk to try and fight this weird creature that Odis has summoned. But now it is Dragon Norm's turn. He does the same thing as the bald guy. And he's like, no, I'm not done with you, mister. And he pulls that baseball bat out again and he swings on this big bald a-hole. Rolls a 14. And luckily, if it meets, it beats.
Oh.
He just collapses this dude's kneecap and he goes down onto one knee. He's still alive, but he cannot move anymore. Odis, what are you doing?
Okay, Odis will use a second level spell to cast Chromatic Orb, pointed at the crossbow wielding lady. You hurl a 4-inch diameter sphere of energy at a creature that you can see within range. You choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder for the type of orb you create, and then make a ranged spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes 3d8 damage of the type you chose. Cool. So I'm going to cast this at second level, so it's going to be 4d8 damage if I hit, and I'm going to make it... Let's go with classic old fire on crossbow lady. That's going to be a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
And that's 22 damage.
Yeah, so what's it look like when the crossbow lady dies?
I'm picturing like a Dragon Ball Z-esque key beam sort of thing. So like I just shoot this like ball of fire at her and like she turns into just like those slight black lines, and then like more and more of the fire takes over the black lines, and then the ball's gone and she's gone as well.
Now over to the shadow spawn.
Odis will just say, the bald man, if you will. And the shadow spawn like just turns around slowly, as creepy as possible, towards the bald gentleman. And we'll swipe at him with his claws again. 8 to hit.
An 8 is not going to hit. Scamhor puts his hands up.
Enough of this nonsense.
And claps his hands together again. And as he does it, the 2 remaining people who you were fighting collapse. Blood pouring out of their eyes and ears. And he appears up on the stage.
Well, boys, this is pretty fun. Hate to leave yous, but I got somewhere to be.
And he turns and he runs from the room. Just like that, he's going to run out the door? But will Odis and Sioc let him get away? To find out, you're going to have to listen to our season finale next week right here. And to make sure you don't miss it, head over to your podcast app, subscribe, follow the show free, make sure you don't miss that episode. And if you really love it, leave us a 5-star review. That'd be amazing. We'd be so grateful. And hey, don't forget, series finale. It's finale central right now of Sounds Like Relict. Make sure you don't miss it. It's huge. It's a great episode. I think you're going to love it. But hey, with all that in mind, I'll catch you on Thursday for the series finale of Sounds Like Relict. And I'll catch you next week for the season finale of Season 2 of Sounds Like Adventure.